Boom. We're back again. Today, I'm joined by Jonna Fraser and David Ballard to do this review video. I should just make them do, which because it went so well last time when Jonna was here for the executive branch. Anyway, Jonna, what do you know about the Spanish American War? For those of you who are following along at home, she said that she does not know and she is a little rusty, but really what she means is that she doesn't actually know and she never learned it. So, anyway, sorry, that was a little mean. Okay, anyway, so four questions here. I'm going to go through them kind of quickly and then kind of tell you where you can find more information about them. So, definition of imperialism, that's going to come from topic one notes. It was like one of the second things we did. And David Ballard will tell you that that is a process through which one nation, usually a more developed nation, dominates. He's doing Sonic Hedgehog dance. One nation dominates a different nation, usually a more undeveloped nation or lesser developed nation, smaller nation. So that's like the name of the unit the entire time, right? And it represents a change from previous U.S. foreign policy because previously the U.S. was mostly just focused on uh, expanding west within the continental United States. So now we're talking about going overseas, which is a little bit different, but still an extension of Manifest Destiny. Oh, is he leaving? Oh, okay. I thought you were okay. All right. So that was the 1800. Yeah, I know. I only got like 5 minutes for this, right? All right. The second question was the Spanish American War, which was the who, what, when, where. Where did the Spanish American War take place, David? Cuba, he says, and that is correct. In 1898, it lasted 3 months, 3 weeks, and I forget how many days. I forgot. I'm sorry. See you later, David. Have a good weekend. But anyway, took place in Cuba between Spanish and the French. And then the question we have here is what were the competing reasons for the U.S. getting involved? So we did an activity in class where we looked at the reason related to the USS Maine. We also looked at the reconcentration camps that were going on during that time in Cuba. So some of those like humanitarian reasons possibly, and then the Albert Beveridge speech, which talks a lot about the economic and cultural and moral reasons for getting involved in the Spanish American War. And then the last question is what did the U.S. gain out of the war? So I'll kind of quickly run down a lot of territory. So access to Cuba, the Philippines, Guam, Puerto Rico. Those were the major areas that the U.S. still maintained control over, and then they had various decisions about what to do with them. So Puerto Rico remained a territory, the Philippines remained a territory, Cuba remained independent, but they still had a lot of ties to the United States. Guam was a territory, still is today. So that's kind of looking into that question right there related to Spanish American War. You don't need to know a lot about battles and stuff like that, but just what ended up happening. Number three says throughout the era of imperialism, the U.S. practiced those three types of diplomacy. What are some examples of different areas of the world where the U.S. practiced those? So if you go back to the sheet that is, I think it's like called Events and Ideology of Imperialism, you just need to know what those three types of diplomacy are. It's good to know um, who the presidents are that did those. So like Big Stick is usually tied with Teddy Roosevelt, and dollar diplomacy is usually related to William Howard Taft, the air to F carrier, and Woodrow Wilson was big into moral diplomacy. But really, what happens is you have these motivations that are aligned with them. Like Big Stick diplomacy is really focused on using the military to accomplish goals and demonstrating the strength of the military and politics throughout the world. Dollar diplomacy is really focused on imperialism being motivated by economic investment and foreign business, and then moral diplomacy is like those typical Woodrow Wilson like freedom, democracy, apple pie kinds of things. So some examples can run through the various examples that we did. So you're gonna have to look a little bit more into what the specifics were, and I'm happy to explain these more later if you need me to. But I would put China as an example of dollar diplomacy because it was really a big economic motivation with the open door notes and having open access to China. Nicaragua, another good example related to the banana plantations that were there and some of the issues that Nicaragua was having with its rebellion. Oh, we got 30 seconds left. Puerto Rico could be a moral diplomacy potentially. A lot of Puerto Ricans became citizens. Panama is a little bit of both big stick and dollar diplomacy. You got the canal, but also demonstrating American military might. So those are just some examples like that. And then overall, during this time, the U.S. becomes way more involved in the world. So that's topic one, kind of 5 minute overview for you. I hope that helps, and have a great weekend.